Good morning, fellow primates. I'm Jon Gonzales. Thank you for joining me today. If you had only one day in London, what should you see and do? Well, let's start with a walk around the Westminster area. This episode is part 2 of my London travel tips, which will be an orientation to the city so you don't get lost. Watch part 1 for my practical tips for first-time visitors to London. Here's London with a few landmarks to help you get oriented. Note that this is north and that this map is not to scale. Number 1 is the River Thames, which runs through the city. Number 2 is London Heathrow Airport. It's an hour and a half away from downtown all the way out in Zone 4. Now don't pick a hotel all the way out here because it's too far away from the sights. You want to stay near the center in Zones 1 or 2. If you're really in a hurry, the fastest way into the city is the Heathrow Express, a non-stop train that'll take you to Paddington Station in only 20 minutes for 21 British pounds. Number 3 is Parliament and Big Ben. From Heathrow Airport, you can take the Piccadilly line directly to Westminster Station. Westminster Station, guys. Whenever I'm in London for a business trip, I always want to pop out of Westminster Station first because nothing says I'm in London more than when you come out of this station, you see the Parliament building, and it's like, bang! Wow! Visitors are allowed to observe Parliament while it's in session if you'd like to hear the legislative debates. Otherwise, audio tours are 18 British pounds and guided tours are 25 British pounds. Unfortunately, visits up to the Elizabeth Tower, which houses the Bell, nicknamed Big Ben, are available only to UK residents. Boat cruises leave every 30 minutes daily up until 5 p.m. for 14 British pounds round trip to and from the Tower of London, which houses the crown jewels and a fantastic armory. Number 4 is the London Eye. It's basically a giant, overpriced Ferris wheel. It offers great views of the city, but it'll cost you 20 British pounds or $40 US for a 30-minute rotation. You'll have to decide for yourself whether the price is worth the view. Right in front of me now is Westminster Abbey. It's just west of the Parliament building here. Just due west, north, that way, leads us to Trafalgar Square and Piccadilly Circus. Number 5 is Westminster Abbey. Walk further west down Victoria Street to reach Westminster Abbey in Parliament Square. Okay, so I know it's not very pretty right now. It's obviously undergoing a restoration. This is Westminster Abbey, guys. In spite of its appearance, you cannot underestimate the importance of this abbey. Westminster Abbey, since 1066 at the Battle of Hastings, William the Conqueror was coronated in this building. Ever since, almost every monarch has been coronated here. Weddings, funerals, coronations have all happened here. Inside are interred, buried, and memorialized a who's who of British culture. Whether we're talking about musicians, composers, dancers, scientists, artists, writers, poets, kings, queens, royalty. The history of Westminster Abbey and that of the United Kingdom are practically impossible to separate. Time to move on. We are now walking north up Whitehall. Further in this Monuments Park with all these statues is Winston Churchill, Gandhi, and I have to admit that I find it a little strange that there's a statue of Gandhi here. I mean, he's a revered figure, of course, especially in India, but I just find it funny that there's a statue of Gandhi, considering the fact that it was Gandhi who ended British rule in India, signaling the end of the British Empire. So I'm a little bit surprised that there's a statue of Gandhi directly behind me here with this tour group right there. I don't get too close because then I'll pick up the audio of her microphone there. That's Gandhi there, and all the way over there is Winston Churchill. David George Lloyd. David Lloyd George. Awesome statue. No idea who he is. I'll have to Google it when I get home. Sorry.
Number 6 is Buckingham Palace in Hyde Park. Walk even further west down Victoria Street to reach Buckingham Palace, where the Queen of England lives. Watch part 1 of my London travel tips for more information on Buckingham Palace.
We're crossing the street now, walking north, up Whitehall.
Number 7 is 10 Downing Street. It's the Prime Minister's residence. Walk north up Whitehall and you'll eventually reach it on the left-hand side. Equivalent to the US White House, it's inaccessible to the general public. The coterie of guards at the front gate told me that even they don't always know when the Prime Minister is home. Flanked on all sides by government buildings, don't be surprised if you occasionally see a helicopter fly over.
Guys, I hope by now that you'll be able to discern that once you're at Westminster, a lot of the major tourist sites, if you had one day, you couldn't do it in one day. You have no time for museums or time to go inside Westminster Abbey or anything, but they're all within walking distance of each other, very conveniently located. Well, if you missed the changing of the guards at that specific time of the day, you can see these guys in the poster here in their full cavalry regalia, just posing right over here, just posing for photographs. Oh, you know what? I think there's the guy right now. He's not on horseback as they usually are, but yeah, he's just standing there without a horse. He's very sleepy. Clearly. he's starting to pass out, yeah. Well, he's not allowed to move, right? So if you can see this guard's eyes, he is very, very drowsy. He's not allowed to talk or move, so everyone's taking a picture with him and he just has to stand there and pose. He's not allowed to move. But his eyes, his eyelids are just really, really droopy, and I feel bad for the guy. He's doing his job, he's doing his duty, but the guy is about to pass out. Oh, and now he's turned around and walk away because he knows he's about to fall asleep. So he's like, I need to take a break. Well, it is 5:30, so maybe his shift is up. So check this out, guys. This is the product of a bygone era. Before cell phones, we had actual phone booths. You had to walk inside. And you made a phone call with this old thing. So for those of you kids who are unfamiliar with this technology, the way this used to work is you pick up the receiver like this, you put in coins, and then you dial the number of the person you wanted to reach and hope that they were there, because obviously they weren't carrying around their phones with them. It was just their home phones or their office phones, right? So there's not even a dial tone. This doesn't even work, and I'm not surprised, because you're not going to make any money from this kind of technology if you have a phone booth. People have their own phones now, right? But the only reason why these things even exist anymore is for tourists, for photo walks. So yeah, walking out of the booth here, yeah, you can see it right there. Alright. Moving on.
Number 8 is Trafalgar Square at the end of Whitehall. Long gone are the flocks of pigeons I remember from my childhood, overtaken nowadays by selfie stick-wielding tourists and occasional festivals and cultural events. The square commemorates the Battle of Trafalgar, where Admiral Horatio Nelson led the British Navy to victory against Napoleon's combined French and Spanish armadas. This success ended Napoleon's dreams of British conquest and ensured that the British Isles would continue to speak English and not French. Number 9 is the National Gallery just further north of Trafalgar Square.
Trafalgar Square, and in the opposite direction on the other side is the National Gallery, a really awesome museum. Lots of terrific British painters and other European masters, totally free to the public. You should definitely go in there if for no other reason than to take advantage of the free washrooms that are in there. Everywhere else you pretty much have to pay. Just to the left side, excuse me, of the National Gallery, past this huge tour bus, there's a path that leads to Piccadilly Circus. So I'm going to be walking up that way.
Number 10 is Leicester Square. In this crowded touristy area, you'll find cinemas, street performers, restaurants, and loads of shops. Further north is Covent Garden, home of the Royal Opera and the Royal Ballet. And Soho, with live theater, musicals, and nightlife. Discounted tickets for plays and musicals can be obtained at the TKTS booth in Leicester Square on the day of the show. So obviously there is far more to see and do in London than I had time for, but those sites will have to wait till next time. I had to catch my bus back to my hotel, so number 11, my last stop today, Piccadilly Circus.
It's 6:51 p.m. now, and I thought I'd take a quick break. Shoot a nighttime time-lapse video of Piccadilly Circus. Here's the view I'm thinking of shooting. That's pretty cool, right? We'll see what it looks like in an 8-second time-lapse clip. Okay, that concludes this time-lapse session. It is now 8 p.m. Time to go back to the hotel. Okay guys, that is it for me from London. Thank you very much for watching. Any questions, comments, subscriptions, likes, it's all good. Thank you very much. I am grateful.